In this video, we are going to explain how to create and export the project Basepoint file. So many of our trade partners don't necessarily work in Revit, where I recommend acquiring the coordinates from generally the architectural file. So what we need to do is to provide them with a file that has the coordinates and the correct rotation so they can work on their own authoring file. So the first thing I usually do is just look at my contract drawings and find a drawing that I like. Typically, I like to have a drawing that has the overall building plan, a view that I think is feasible. In this case, this A101, has everything I need. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find that drawing. It's definitely this one. So it is going to be this view, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if this is the one that I really want. And yeah, that looks like a great view. Now, since I don't want to damage this sheet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this view. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to duplicate, and sure, let's do the detailing. I'd rather have more than less, and then I'm going to start deleting things that I don't think I am going to need. So just click on duplicate. It's going to take a second for it to carry everything through, and it will open momentarily. Beautiful. So you can see here how it's in print, floor plans. Perhaps you want to change its location. So that's something that we can do later on. What I'm going to do, the first things I'm going to change, and I'm going to remove the template so I can actually make edits to it. So you can see over there, it is called O1 construction print copy. There we go. Now let's delete that. I'm going to call it project Basepoint, and I typically say Harkins, just so we know that that is something that we created. That is not necessarily something that the design team created. So of course we apply it. It's going to change the name. There we go. All right, so one of the first things I probably want to do is I want to move a little bit the size of this crop, because I'm gonna need to display some of the grid lines. So I'm probably gonna expand this a little bit here. All right, so it looks really good. And now I am actually going to probably hide this because I don't think I am gonna need it. So let's hide this reference. Beautiful. We're gonna start cleaning it up. We're gonna hide other things. For example, I don't need this sections. Beautiful. So this starts to become a little bit cleaner. And then I'm gonna say VG. What are the other thing that I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to annotations, grids, and we're gonna turn on those grids. Excellent. So now we have all the grids. We have the building itself where we want, and we can of course just hide some of those. So let's see if I were to hide this entire category, how this is going to look. Right, these are nodes that I don't care about. I also don't need this one, so let's hide this category as well. And you can see how this starts looking, like what we need. So one of the things that happens here is that Some of these grid lines just don't have, you know, a full display. They are actually spread grid lines. So one of the things that we can do is just actually go to edit type, and we are going to see if they have a different type. So let's do this Meyer bubble and see how this one is going to look like. So I can see how this family actually carries through. I think this is more important than actually having them split, because we do really care about grid intersections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them all, and I'm actually going to change the family of this one so we don't have a split grid line, but we'd rather have the entire grid line. We're going to do the same thing for all of these ones. So do that, we select a bunch of things that we didn't need. Let's do this filter. I'm going to click grids, and we are going to change this to the Meyer bubble. If for some reason that family is not there, you're just going to make a copy of the current family and modify it so there's no split in it. So you can see now how we have these grid lines being completely continuous. So great, this is exactly what we wanted. All right, so now what we need to do is to actually annotate a few of the grid intersections and a few places of interest, so we fully understand the coordinates themselves. So for that purpose, we are going to use the annotate spot coordinate. So we're going to start by annotating one outside stud. So I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to actually pick over here. I know this is the stud. I'm going to place it over here, and I am actually going to modify this family because I wanted to have a little bit more information. Okay, so we're going to change it. We're going to duplicate it to be called coordinate in feet, but also in inches. You choose your name. In fact, let's do this one so we know it's a family. We created it, right? So what is the base? The survey point. Yeah, it's perfect. I'm not going to modify the arrowhead, but here's what I'm going to change. I want it to be, the top is going to be east and the other one is going to be north. The reason is that when you're in AutoCAD, you're more familiar with having the X and the Y after that. Okay, I don't care about the elevation. And I'm going to leave that in feet, but I also want some alternate units, or I'm going to leave feet inches. I'm going to do some alternate units first. The alternate units are going to be to the right, and they're actually going to be in decimal feet. I'm going to do 3 places, and I am going to suppress straight link zeros. Beautiful. Let's look at it, see how it looks. Okay. All right, so this is a little confusing. We're gonna keep modifying this one. We're gonna say the prefix is gonna be in key, and at the end I'm gonna plus feed key. So let's click apply. Now you see how you can tell that you know, they're just an alternate unit. So this looks exactly the way I like it. Except that it didn't put an arrow, so I am going to change it so it actually has an arrow tip. Not like that. Let's do that. All right, beautiful. So that's how you do an exterior corner. So let's try to do now a grid intersection. One of the things that Revit will not do is actually snap to a grid intersection. what we are going to have to do is to create a detail line right there, because the detail line will actually snap. So I'm going to go into A1, which is right here. This actually will snap right to this intersection. You can tell it there. I'm just going to put it, just something quick. And now I can go back to annotate, and I can do a spot coordinate, and it'll snap exactly where we need it to snap, which is going to be the end line, which is that intersection. All right, so let's take it there and let's place it. Excellent. Of course, I forgot to put the right family, so my apologies for that. Let's do the right one. Oh, wrong one. Man, I keep doing that. Coordinate Harkins. There we go. Beautiful. So that is working right there. The other thing that we need to ensure that we do is that we actually, you know, instead of having the orientation to project north, we actually do true north. That is going to be really important, because otherwise your design team members may not receive the fully aligned file. In this case, the project north and the true north are the same. The way I'm going to verify that that is the case is I'm going to go to BG. I'm going to go to site. I'm going to actually turn on my project Basepoint. I want to see it. All right, let's find out where that guy is. I'm going to have, oh, there it is. So if I were to click on this guy, you can see how there's no angle through to north, right? So that is why not much. If not, there, this map should have rotated, and this angle through north should be either the same or complementary to that angle. So I'm not going to continue making markups. Now you know what you do. What I would do is just put coordinates in several places of interest. It could be outside face of stud, it could be inside of CMU, create intersections, whichever you think are important. Do them throughout the project, add the rotation. And the last important part is knowing how to export this file correctly. So in order to export this file correctly, we're going to keep the view open. We're going to click export, and we're going to go to CAD format, DWG. Okay, we're going to change a few options here to ensure that these exports to the right location. Excellent. So now that we have it here, we're going to click on this ellipsis. We are going to go right away into units and coordinate. I want you to export it in foot, and instead of the coordinate base, the internal origin, we're going to do the share coordinates. Okay. General, we are going to do a few things. We are going to uncheck this, because we don't want to have separate files for external reference. We shouldn't have any, but just in case, we're going to click uncheck that, and we're going to click AutoCAD 2018 format. You know, people should be working on that. Hopefully nothing older than that. Then if you want to change anything in here in terms of the lines, the layers, I typically don't. This should be enough. These are the most important settings. Once again, units and coordinate foot, share coordinates, and uncheck the views sheets as external references. Okay, we're going to click OK. We're going to click next. And of course, it's going to ask us where to save that file. We're going to put it in a location where the trade partners, or all the stakeholders in the project, can easily find it. All right, so that's all you got to do. In my case, I am going to put them in my Autodesk docs, Perkins Builders, on Laurel files. There's going to be my management. There you go, project Basepoint. That's it. You're going to click OK, and that's all you need. Any questions? Let me know.